we go. Betting Weekly Live here with you on a Friday, heading into the weekend. Mike Carver, along with Doug Kezirian, as we get ready for all of the action tonight. Huge NBA night. We've also got the NBA Cup this weekend in Vegas we've got to talk about. We have got a huge NFL weekend ahead of us. There's college hoops tonight and all weekend. There's hockey. Very loaded on a Friday here on Betting Weekly Live, of course, part of Betting Weekly Studios, Bet Rivers Network. Great to have everybody with us. Doug, good to see you as always. Last night, crazy game. Nice job. I could understand why Todd Bowles was so upset afterwards. Hard to blow a 14-point lead at home when the other team has 20 penalties for 200 yards, can't get out of their own way. But the Bucks were able to do it, Doug. They blew it.
Yeah, really wild final 7 minutes or so. A lot of discussion, arguing about the 2-point conversion thing and stuff like that. But really, it was just a couple teams who couldn't get out of their own way. More so to Atlanta, to the penalties that you mentioned. But these division games, things like that, it's really just makes betting on the NFL so hard. Like, how many times was each team covering in the second half, right? Just wild, makes it so difficult. But Baker Mayfield really going to see that ill-advised interception in his nightmares if things don't break the right way for the Bucks the home stretch here.
It certainly has not, that's for sure, for them. And we have a lot more NFL this Sunday that we will get to in a little bit. Big week 15. Lots of huge matchups coming our way this week. But we'll start tonight, Doug, on Betting Weekly Live with the NBA because we have 7 games tonight to get to. We have the Cup semis in Vegas tomorrow night to discuss as well. Well, let's start with the NBA TV game first. And late night seems to be the most attractive matchup, and that will be the Timberwolves in San Francisco, Golden State against the Warriors. Right now, Warriors at Bet Rivers -1.5 right now, and you have the Timberwolves coming in tonight. Total is at 231.5, so 1.5 and 231.5, Doug.
Honestly, the line movement and where it is right now is because Steph Curry expected to return. And look, we've talked about this T-Wolves team. They're a total headache and very mercurial. Just want to reiterate it against teams that have a record of 500 or better. Okay, 2-8. They're 2-8 against those types of teams. They've padded their record against the bad teams. Now the Warriors, very unreliable with leads and things like that. But obviously, Steph changes everything. He's such a weapon. But Golden State has their issues against similar, records, 6-7, right? So against teams that are 500 or better, they've been bad as well. Obviously, just not to the degree. So I lean Warriors here, but I feel like the T-Wolves best is better than the Golden State's best. But I just have more confidence I'm going to get a good version of the Warriors than I do the T-Wolves. But I think Minnesota knows that. They're well coached coming out of the break. So I can't get involved. But typically Ant steps it up when he faces the Warriors. I think it's maybe something in the air in the building when facing Golden State with the 3-pointer. So I like betting Ant overs with his threes when facing the Dubs. 3 or more, so over 2.5, -186. That's a little rich, but maybe throw it in a parlay. I just think he's going to get there. He's going to have like 9 or 10 threes. 4+ is plus 140, 143 now, as you see on the screen. So I really think that's an attractive wager, all things considered. So that's what I'm eyeing. I think Ant steps it up and comes out chucking a little bit.
143 for the 4 threes tonight, and that is true. Ant usually raises the game against the other best in the game, and we could see that tonight in Golden State against the Warriors. Bet Rivers also with a special for you in this game as well, and it involves a couple of these guys we just talked about. 3 for 3. Curry, Ant, and Dante DiVincenzo, each to make at least 3 3-pointers in T-Wolves and Warriors. Now, this is boosted from plus 215 to plus 250. So it puts in one of the components you just had there, Doug, which was -186 for Ant to have the 3. You get Curry in there as well and Dante, all 3 of them at a plus 250 price.
All right. So in the last few days, we've had first half sort of boost, right? This is full game. So I like the sound of that. Steph, don't have to twist my arm for that to have at least 3 threes. Dante's interesting because he's he's high variance, right? So he'll have a bunch or nothing, and sometimes he gets a bunch of assists. There's a report today that the Knicks are interested, that really want to reunite the old Villanova crew. But I like 250 a lot. I mean, Ant and Curry should get there. So the question is DiVincenzo. Now, what is DiVincenzo by himself for three made threes? I think
Minus
that's
minus
where you
139.
minus 139. So that's pretty attractive. So I would say fire away.
Fire, let it rip for Curry, Edwards, and DiVincenzo. I'll be in, baby. Let's go tonight with those three. He was good as Goose. Bet it. He was so good as Goose right there. There's the Amish electrician with us on a Friday, which is what we always like to see. Elsewhere in the NBA tonight, let's go to Dallas next, Doug, where, of course, we have the Mavericks at home against the Nets this evening. Mavs minus 7.5. 221.5 the total.
Nets have won 3 of 4.
Yeah.
So need to be careful. But the Mavs have started to figure things out, right? They're getting healthier. AD returned in the last game. Nebhard, the younger brother of the Indiana Pacers, Andrew Nebhard, really off the scrap heap. And I say that, just as a guy who's commending him for finding a place in the NBA. And 7.5's a little rich. I would lean Nets here, but the Mavs are getting healthy, although Derek Lively's out for the year. The Mavs are getting healthy with Washington back. They're sort of, Cooper Flag playing great. I think with AD off a break, I think AD's going to be fresh, and I think they're going to be really tough here. But I think the Nets are playing hard. I just can't get behind the Nets at 7.5 against the Mavericks in this spot. I think Dallas is sort of going to make a push here. They've won 4 of 5. They beat the Rockets. They beat the Heat. They beat the Nuggets, Clippers. I mean, we're talking real teams here. So that's why I don't want to grab the points. But there's a lot to like with Dallas right now. So it's very tempting to even lay the 7.5. But I've been swayed by Brooklyn lately. So can't get involved in the side or total. I lean over, if anything. But I am targeting some props, much like I did with Ant. I'm going to go Klay Thompson. And if you look at Klay's splits, you got to do it by hand unless you have some stat. I don't have the right websites or whatever. But off the bench, he's been so much better over the last month. So starting, I think he was forcing things. Obviously, he was more of a focal point for the opposing team's defense. But now that they're getting healthy, moving Cooper Flag off the ball, Klay comes in and he's wide open. He's shooting a bunch of threes. You can get plus money on at least 3 made threes, which is obviously 9, right? Like, or you can do the 9.5. I prefer the 9.5 because he is getting to that elbow jumper, free throw line. It's minus 120 versus plus 102, but I think this is a banger. I really do. Now, the last game, he was sort of shut out, very limited, but that was against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I talked about it, handicapping that game on this show. And I said, look, he's been great against off the bench, but I don't think this game is the right one because the Thunder could blow him out. He cannot play the fourth quarter because he's older. They're not going to force his minutes. But I think this is a different game. Nets stink on defense. He's going to look for his shot. He's fresh legs off the long layoff. I think Klay's going to get his tonight. I think this is a great bet.
There we go. Klay over 9.5 and the 3 threes for Klay there tonight against the Nets in Dallas. Your Jazz are in this year. They are. I know I call them. They're your Jazz.
Oh, they
Your
are.
Jazz
They are.
on
They're
the
absolutely my Jazz.
in Memphis. Grizz laying 7.5 and a 242.5 tonight in Memphis.
All right. So this line opened 6.5, got to 8.5. Then the news surfaced of Zach Edey's going to miss about 4 weeks, which is a blow because he was playing great, really a force. And so then the number came back to 7.5, but the total keeps going up. It's gone up like 8 points or something ridiculous. And I think it's probably, not high enough. The Jazz are good at times. Okay. But that's at home. They're 6-7 versus 2-8 on the road. They pretty brutal ATS on the road. But again, this version of them much better than the one that maybe started the year, right? They've gotten some guys back. Now, Memphis ATS, awesome as a favorite. So you got to be careful here. They are, as a dog, they've been a little bit of a fade material, but I like how this team is playing together. They've had a lot of time without Ja Morant. So some of the guys that may have been deferential, spot start with Morant missing a game, they're all now like in a groove. Like they're accustomed to playing without Morant. So guys like Cam Spencer off the bench, great shooter from UConn, looks for his shot, things like that. Cedric Coward's been awesome. Really a facilitator on offense. His points, his assists, his rebounds, the length. They have a real steal in him at Wazoo. Same for Jalen Wells the year before. I just don't know how this team's going to respond without Edey. He's that important. And then the Jazz got a ton of size. Yeah, Kessler's out for the year, but Markkanen and some of these other guys. So I think it's going to be an up and down game. I lean to the Jazz. Hopefully we can get a prop. Cam Spencer, if it gets posted 10.5 points, he's gone over his points prop in 8 straight games, looking for his shot. He'll see some points, obviously a high total here. So that lends itself to more scoring for some of the player props. Maybe, hopefully, Bet Rivers puts that up. I mean, he's a reserve, so sometimes they don't. But we just talked about Klay Thompson off the bench. So maybe we'll get another guy posted closer to game time once we have official sort of depth charts and lineups. But this should be a fun game. Not that many people are going to be watching it because there's other good NBA games, but back and forth. And I think Memphis is really well coached. I know Utah is. And neither team's tanking this year, so it should be a good game.
Every game is great, Doug, if you can cash the ticket in it. Every game is great. Every
I mean,
game.
yeah, we're talking about Pop-Tarts bowls in the next couple of weeks, so why can't we talk about Jazz Grizzlies?
Come on. A couple that caught my eye. And I always, of course, with the NBA, like to give you, am I crazy or am I not? What am I doing here?
You're crazy for betting the NBA.
The Bulls.
Nothing but aggravation, NBA.
There's nothing but aggravation. The Bulls are in Charlotte against the Hornets. The Bulls are 3-point favorite tonight. They have been horrible the last couple weeks, Doug. I mean, completely off a cliff. We get a little gas with the Hornets at home here tonight. 3-point dogs, maybe an outright win.
I was looking at Charlotte. They just beat them. Kobe White's probable, okay? But you have very thin herders, I think, out.
It's a long injury.
The Sumo's out. Trey Jones is out. I mean, that's a lot of Patrick Williams, and that's not what you want if you're betting on Chicago. Now, LaMelo's out, so that's good or bad, depending on your prep. Yes. Sexton also out, so I would look at the under, which, might want to check with your cardiologist because these two teams want to get up and down, but that's a lot of offense missing. Melo, you could make an argument that he's not good for the overs because he holds the ball for like 19 of the 24-second shot clock. So the ball should be popping a little more, but no Sexton's big if you're not going to have LaMelo. So I would lean Hornets here just because a lot of those key reserves for the Bulls are out, but Giddey should go off. Kneppel should be going off. Bridges obviously is going to be a gunner. I will not be watching this game. But I understand your thought process that they're going to come around.
They've lost 7 in a row. I mean, they have been brutal, the Bulls. They're favorites tonight?
Come on. I know. Road chalk. I mean, look, the Bulls are not good. I mean, they started out 5-0, right? They're 4-14 since. They've lost 7 straight, it looks like. So
that is the hold your nose game of the night, man. The Bulls and the Hornets in Charlotte. Here's my other one that stuck out. The Cavs are in DC against the Wizards. This is a big number, 15.5 at Bet Rivers. But the total, Doug, is where I was kind of looking. 245. Now, they played a couple weeks ago, and the Cavs dropped 150 on them by themselves. So we know the deal with the Wizards. I mean, they're no defense. Not even defense optional. It's just not there at all. Can we get this again? I mean, they flew past 245 a couple weeks ago when they played.
Yeah, I just get worried with this layoff. Like I don't know what to think. Like, do the young teams, have they been partying? Have the older guys? It's like an old man running. Once you get going, you're going to be fine. But like, do the old guys take a while to get going? This Cavs team's been terrible against the spread. Obviously, the spread's huge at 15.5. A lot of moving parts. I'm a little uneasy here. Just like as you can tell already, I've been looking at some props, not sides or totals.
Right.
Just, little uneasy. But, I mean, look what happened with the Nuggets last night. They absolutely drilled the Kings from the tip last night. So, cream rose to the top last night in that game. The question is, Is that a one-off or is that a sign of things to come tonight? I'm always a little careful around All-Star break going into the break and then coming out of it. So I kind of have the same approach here. I mean, the Celtics were up 15, lost by 15, that kind of thing. Pelicans, dog, outright blowout victory. But these are just a few games. I'm just always careful around these breaks.
Look, and you're right. Neither of these teams have played since Saturday. So it's been basically a full week since the Cavs and the Wizards have played. So maybe you do get a little bit of slow out of the gate, and we can maybe get underneath that 245 tonight. The only other games this evening, Hawks, Pistons in Detroit as well. You have that, which right now at Bet Rivers -7 for the Pistons, 233. And the Pacers are in Philly against the 76ers. Sixers -7.5, 224.5. That rounds out our games tonight, Doug.
This Pacers team's interesting, right? Like we've talked about it. I've touched on it. They're not the same team that started the year, right? You got McCollum back, Matherin back, Neesmith back. Like this is a more competent team now. The bigs have been hurt a lot, but Huff's playing okay. They're making it work at the center position. So they're now like winning 2 out of 5 games, stuff like that. Like, I mean, they're headed to the lottery, but this is not a team that's just got a bunch of G League players. So 7.5 feels right. The Sixers team's impressive. They had their highs are really high with Edgecombe playing well. Obviously, Maxi's fantastic. So I feel like that number feels right. If anything, it's the over. I think this total felt low to me. Just because, but we've seen the defense sort of pick up a little bit with Indy. So that's going to be the one tonight when I look at scores. I'm going to be kicking myself. I was like, I knew it. This should be like 231. I mean, that's how low I think the total is.
Okay, there you go. Pacers and Sixers tonight. 7 games in the NBA. Of course, tomorrow, let's get this in too. The NBA Cup semis in Vegas tomorrow night. Eastern side, Knicks and the Magic. That'll be the first game, and that's just after 5:30 East. Remember, both these games at the T-Mobile. Knicks -5. I got now up from 4.5, which it was earlier. Right now at Bet Rivers -5 and 224 total up a half as well. Magic seem to always give the Knicks problems, Doug. That's the one thing. Oh, now you got the neutral court element thrown in here as well out in Vegas. We talked a lot about the unders last year with these games. What do you think in the East side?
I mean, under's the first instinct, right? How can you not? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'll say this. It's the cardinal sin of all bettors, right? We just fixate on what we last saw. But I was really impressed with the Magic in the last game, but more so was about Desmond Bane. We knew it was going to be a matter of time. And maybe that was his breakout game and got him going. We talked about the buzzer beater against Miami a couple of weeks ago. Bane was a true all-star in the last game, and he carried them, and they smoked Miami down the stretch. The problem is they're not at full strength, and it's annoying. This is the first time that last game was the first time they played all season without Franz Wagner. So if it's crazy. They get Ben Carroll back, but then they lose Wagner. Knicks are really good in terms of like their starting 5 on paper. Number feels right. I understand the move from 4.5 to 5. And just a reminder to everyone, 5 is the most key number in the NBA in terms of most common margin of victory. Now, not to the same degree that 3 is in the NFL, like 16% or whatever it is. But just keep in mind, that's a big difference between 4.5 and 5. Sometimes when you buy the half point off 4.5 or 5, it's going to cost you more than it does any other number because the books are obviously onto that. I think Magic would be the play I would make if I had to play the game, but I don't, so I'm not going to play it.
So there you go. I think the Knicks are going to win the game, but 5's very dice. I think it's going to be a tight game, though. Usually, the Knicks and the Magic are usually pretty close. So in terms of a spread, I'd probably be with you on the Magic side if I had to. Tomorrow night in Vegas. The night game will be the Western Conference game. Allegedly just after 9. I guess that's what do they make them clear the whole place out, I guess, and put them that's not a one ticket out in Vegas, right, Doug? Is that 2 separate tickets for those 2 NBA games at the T-Mobile? I bet it is.
You think I buy tickets?
I guess because of the time. That's why I'm saying that. I'm saying 2.5.
No, I know. I'm teasing.
30.
This is late tip, by the way. Was this a pay-per-view of the
That's
UFC?
what I'm saying. They must empty the whole place out and let a whole new crew go in for Spurs Thunder. Double dipping is what they make you do if you're going out there for these. Thunder -9 226.5, the late game.
I like the Thunder here. How can you bet against this team in a big game, right? Against certain opponents, they've just opened up a can, and it's the first game with Wemby, right? Assuming he plays, like that's a giant adjustment for the entire offense, good and bad, right? Like it's one thing to bring Castle back when they were in a groove that he kind of fits into their sort of flow. Um, Wemby changes everything defensively, offensively. And against the Lakers, the Spurs looked great, but honestly, I think the secret might be out for the Lakers. What they're doing, what teams are doing against them, because this is what Phoenix did. They run a drop off a high pick and roll with Luca, so they're basically going to make Marcus Smart and others shoot threes. So there's different sort of defensive rotations you can do, and they're going underneath the screen. They're kind of doing a drop. They're having their guys hang out the free throw line, guarding Smart at 3-point line. So Luca can't do his pick and rolls where it's just indefensible. He does sort of the floaters or the kick out to the corner. So the Spurs copied that. It was and then they also just ran the Lakers out of the building. And I don't think the Lakers really cared. They're like, why are we doing this just to go play OKC and get drilled, because they already lost to them by 30. So I would say I don't think the Spurs are all of a sudden world beaters just because they smoked the Lakers in LA. I think that was a perfect storm with the Suns doing it to the Lakers, showing the defensive blueprint. I'm sure JJ Redick will have a counter to the counter, but I don't know how great the Spurs are. And then you add in the Wemby component, and OKC's just drilling teams. So I think Thunder are the right side here.
Thunder, big time. I think they're going to smash them. You saw it the other night. There seems to be a little bit of extra push from the Thunder to maybe go
and you nailed it. They lost last year. The other day, you nailed it. They lost last year in the championship game.
Yeah.
Some teams need a little bit of a dangled carrot mid-season or early season. So this is their sort of motivation.
And look, and I think you also throw in I know that usually saying an extra 300,000 for an NBA player isn't that that big of a deal. The Thunder do have a lot of young guys on rookie contracts. They're not loaded with guys making 300, 400 million bucks. So some of those guys need an extension on the house, Doug. Some of those guys on the Thunder. So they need a little extra coin in the pocket in Vegas in the next few days.
NBA, well, to say they're young, so maybe some of them, don't know about their contracts or whatever.
Right, and they're just, they are in Vegas for the next few days. How do the Knicks not win the cup? Steve says. How do they not win the cup? I'll answer this one, Doug. I'll take the NBA question for once, because they're going to play the Thunder in the final. I
think Steve misspelled Thunder.
He missed those Thunder. I love Steve. They're going to play the Thunder in the final. They're in trouble. They're not going to win the NBA Cup in that situation. Don't forget also tonight, BetRivers NBA Fridays. They've got you covered. SGP Profit Boost. Log into your BetRivers app or BetRivers.com account each Friday to receive a profit boost for any NBA same-game parlay for tonight's slate. Profit boost is dependent on the number of legs included. See the BetRivers app or the website for full details. NBA Friday. SGP Profit Boost. More hoops for you on Betting Weekly Live. College basketball. It's a huge weekend, Doug, but there's only one game really of significance tonight, and that would be Texas against number 5 UConn, just after 8 o'clock East. This game's actually on Big Fox, too. The game's in Hartford, not in Stores. UConn minus 13.5. 146 is the total now at BetRivers.
The old XL Center, right next to a high rise I used to live at, or temporary housing. I've been worried about this Texas team. They haven't kind of come around like I thought they would. I think they're obviously well coached long term. I just worry that they just, for whatever reason, it's not coming together. It's not as bad as Oregon 0-9 ATS. It's not as bad as Marquette out of the gates, but Texas should be better. So I just think this number's a little high for a reason. I think UConn could truck them. Big win, though. The Huskies are coming off. I think Mullins is going to have a big game. He was limited in the last game, foul trouble, but Texas doesn't have the front line like Florida does. Now, Florida has limited shooting. They were clanking threes in the first half, and I think that's why the Huskies were able to get the lead at the break and then down the stretch made the key plays. I think UConn is the play here. I'm surprised I'd be willing to lay 13.5 against Arch, but I think that's the issue here.
Tee it high, let it fly. UConn tonight in
Yeah.
Hartford. Let's go tonight in the standalone really game that matters. Unless, of course, you're involved with Missouri State and Xavier, or I know Austin P and East Tennessee State are on the docket tonight. You do have a few of those other ones, Doug, just in case. Or I could just get to the games
I
that
said
matter.
Arch. I meant Sean Miller. Excuse me.
Yes, Sean Miller. We got Arch on the mind. It's Texas. That as
It's
soon as you
Texas,
talk
right?
Texas athletics, you go immediately to Arch. All right, big games on Saturday. Let me give you a few. Arkansas.
Well, you mentioned basketball on Fridays. We will have a lot in the next couple months
Oh,
with Ivy League, usually on Fridays, but not
it's
today.
it's happening. It's almost here. Conference play is around the corner. Some have already started, but it's going to happen. Arizona and Alabama. I'll go there first. My apologies. Right there, Arizona. That is a night game. The CM Newton Classic, which is in Birmingham, minus 1.5 for Bama. 174.5. The big total.
Arizona deserves a lot of credit for how well they played. Sean Miller's former team, right? I've been really impressed with them, and obviously going to the con and winning. Although Terrace Reed was out, but still, that's a big win. I I'm going to maintain. I don't bet against this Alabama team. It's just it's just variance. Really, we should just bet alt lines, good or bad, in Alabama games. Like just their 3-point shooting and everything. I think the over is going to probably come home here. Um, Late tip though. I got to be honest. I think that's going to suit Arizona a little bit better. Just more body clock things. 9:30 is pretty late. I know college kids and all that, but these guys are trained athletes. They get to bed at the right time. All that stuff. That does disrupt things a little bit. I feel like Mick Cronin right now, but um, again, it's always going to be Bama or pass for me until otherwise.
I love Mick, and we'll get to what he had to say in a moment when we get to UCLA and Gonzaga. Arkansas and Texas Tech is an early tip, just after noon East, and this game is in Dallas. Arkansas and Texas Tech with minus 1.5 for the Red Raiders, 152.5.
No opinion here. I think Arkansas. I mean, gosh, Cal must be so happy. I mean, just flying below the radar, not having to deal with Kentucky. He got his money. Got out of there. He's probably so much happier right there with the Razorbacks. I like Texas Tech typically. Very well coached. I think this should be a really good game. I would probably lay it with Tech just because they're the home team, but that's just a lazy take. I got no opinion here. Arkansas deserves a lot of credit. Um, I think this is a coin flip game. There's no edge here. There can't
No.
be.
And look, I think the same thing about the next one, which I know you had it on there. Indiana, Kentucky at Rupp Saturday night, and Kentucky's minus 4.5, and it's 151.5. Kentucky, obviously, we know 6-4 start, whatever. You'd probably want points in this game, but the game is at Rupp, so that's probably why we're at that 4.5 number.
I think you need your head examined if you want to bet this game. I really do. Now, if you want to tell me that Kentucky's unraveled, they've come apart at the seams, keep fading them until
I
otherwise,
don't.
fine. But IU's off a big win. They've struggled on the road. They lost outright at the barn in Minnesota. I wouldn't want any part of the Hoosiers either. I mean, they got some players, right? Like they're obviously good, but let's not catch the falling knife either. Trying to bet on Kentucky and laying 4.5 points.
Don't
Make no
want to do
mistake.
that.
There's something to be said about that. So I again, a lot of other games on Saturday for me to get involved with.
Tons of other games. Another game for you would be Kansas, who hits the road to Raleigh, where they will see NC State. NC State minus 1.5 with the 150.5.
That surprises me. I would think the power rating for Kansas would be a lot higher. And there's going to be those guys who always say, "Hey, greatest rule of thumb in betting: unranked favored over a ranked." Now, Ken Palm has NC State -1.
Mm.
Um, I think it could be like one team is really going to be up for this game, the other one not so much. KU off a border war win with Mizzou, had the UConn and Tennessee games before that. I do think. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. Old Doug would be betting Kansas, but I think I've learned the hard way a lot over the years. This feels like Nebraska, Wisconsin the other night.
Hmm.
I think you have to take the Wolfpack or don't bet at all, but it'd be a leap of faith. My stomach would not like taking NC State here.
No, tough one. 5:30 East tip for there. Nebraska's been super impressive. They're 10-0. They're at Illinois just after 4 o'clock East on Saturday. Illinois 9.5. No respect to the Huskers, who are 10-0 so far this year.
I feel like we're in a bar fight, Carver. You can just tell me, Doug, you're all talk. Because I said the other night, let's hope Nebraska takes care of business so we can bet against them against Illinois on
Yeah,
Saturday. I don't know if I can get there with the Illini. First of all, it's a big number. I still
big.
think the season's early enough where Nebraska, look, there's going to be times to fade this team on the road off a big home win, the ebb and flow of a conference season to travel. I still think they may have a little bounce in their step, and Underwood's been solid at times, but this could be one where Nebraska might be for real. And I don't know if they're going to win. Illinois is good. They're not great though. I was hoping this number would be a little lower, like 7.5. But I'm all talk because I hoped for a certain outcome, and then I'm not man enough to do it. So I'll back down. I'll back down from this confrontation and not lay it.
Late night in Seattle. This is at the Climate Pledge. You get UCLA and Gonzaga. You referenced Mick Cronin before. He was doing some belly aching about the start time. This is 11:30 East, 8:30 local up in Seattle. Gonzaga minus 8.5, 147.5 is the total. Now, was he only belly aching because his dad has to stay up on the East Coast till 11:30? Or I mean, this is the 8:30 local on the West Coast. Isn't that big of a deal, Doug? Come on, Mick.
Well, his dad's gonna have to take a couple naps, which is fine. He will. Frankly, I will too. I like the Zags quite a bit here. Now, it's not at the kennel, but it's in their backyard. And UCLA has been a little shaky. Donovan Dent's not quite fit into Cronin's system. And I'm just a little, I don't know, skeptical. Their Bruins are unreliable, right? Like their high is pretty high. Cronin's a good coach. Their highs are high, but so are the Zags. And the Zags highs are even higher. And the Bruins just went to Seattle, had Washington by 16, 4.5 to go, and won by 2. Covered the 1.5, but it was a sweat. I think the Bulldogs, I'm beginning to realize that Michigan beatdown was a one-off. This team's for real. I think Bruins will hang around, play well, but I think the Zags pull away. I wish it were at the kennel, but this should be good enough.
Yeah, it's Zags or nothing for me in that one, especially in their own backyard at the Climate Pledge. I'll throw you two others that real fast. I think Michigan State's going to destroy Penn State. I think it's 11.5, whatever. I think Penn
Oh,
State's
I
not
think it's
that
gonna be
good.
higher, right?
Penn State's not that good. You saw that
No,
they got destroyed by Indiana
right.
the other night. Michigan State's coming off losing to Duke last week. I know it's on the road. I still feel good. It's 11.5 at Bet Rivers right now.
That
You think
that does feel really short.
you think it'll be 11.5 by noon East tomorrow when
No, it
they
is.
tip
I
off,
see it
Doug?
at Bet
Yeah.
River. No, it's not. I see it
Yeah.
right now because we were looking at some projected lines, but yeah, this is an actual line. I think that's a banger.
I'm saying it'll probably be more than 11.5 when tomorrow morning when we get to tip. Like an hour before tip, half an hour before tip, probably 12, 13, probably gonna go up. Everyone's gonna look at it the same way I am. Penn State stinks, Michigan State's gonna hammer them. And you probably get a little bit more of that line. And can Michigan win by 40 for the 10th time in a row, or whatever it is? Because they're playing Maryland. And it's a heavy number though now. It's like 19, it's like 19.5 now for Michigan in College Park.
It ain't heavy enough. I thought this number was 17.5 earlier. So
Yeah.
the fact that it's 19.5 makes a lot of sense. I would have made this like 23. Um,
The Terps.
I think it's one of those things. It reminds me, I watched all those, 30 for 30s, things like that. When Tark, the Hank Gathers LMU team, I'm going way back, but when they were facing UNLV in the running reps, Tark said, I knew we were going to kill them because they wanted to play our style and that we're just better at our game. And they ran him out of the gym. They nuked him. I think Maryland is really bad against these teams that can light it up and go up and down. We just saw them lose by 30 plus to the Zags, 30 plus to Bama. I think this is a similar type situation. I think the teams that are going to bog down Michigan might be more half court defend Houston's really good, but a team like Houston, but what isn't good, like those things can be a thorn in their side. I think Maryland's going to play right into them and get blown out.
Yeah, bad scene for the Terps on Saturday afternoon. So lots of good games over the weekend in college basketball. Those were just some of the highlights for you. And we got good action early in the week next week before the holiday too. Plenty of good games coming our way. Betting Weekly Live here on a Friday. Mike Carver and Doug Kezirian. Of course, if you like what you see, as you should, subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. You can check us out and, of course, all of our other shows, including released earlier today, Betting Weekly Extra Time. Dan Roebuck, Steve Wiss, and James Eastham as they preview Week 15 in European soccer, including a few get-right spots for some of the elite teams. So Betting Weekly Extra Time on the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube right now. Make sure you go and check it out. All right, Week 15, of course, already underway in the NFL after the Falcons' comeback win over the Bucs last night. Let's get to Sunday because there are several games, Doug, of consequence as we come down the stretch here with 4 games to go in the regular season. Why don't we start in the injury report update? We'll go to first because obviously you do have several things from the quarterback wise. Kenny Pickett's going to play. Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor. Brady Cook is going to start for the Jets this week in Jacksonville. How about that? And from the Colts, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Colt game, but Riley Leonard was a full go in practice today. Jaden Daniels is out. Always a long injury list, Doug, as you get into mid to late December.
Yeah, in terms of the top of the sort of food chain, it's the team that wins the Super Bowl is often the healthiest, right? Not just quarterback, but sometimes there's just attrition on the line, and that really rears its ugly head for some of these teams. But Daniels is out. You're going to get Mariota. Not sure why Daniels ever played in the first place. We'll see about Phillip Rivers. It's just bonkers with what's going on. Higgins out. I mean, there's a lot of big injuries. Don't love this card, although I said that about last week, and I won my Pick'em league with 10 right against the spread. So shows you what I know in terms of confidence factor.
On fire
I do
now.
like some of these ugly dogs. I like the Lions catching points. I like the Browns catching points. I mean, those are big numbers. And we saw last night what happens when you're catching 6, 5.5. Like those games, I mean, you can win outright. And Sexy Dexty's going to be questionable. That's a big one for that matchup. I don't know, man. Like there's this is when it's like the market is super tight. So I present to you, like, should we be looking at teasers? If the market's that much tighter,
right,
should we be looking at alt lines and things along those lines? Because there's going to be value on both sides of the line.
Right. And the one thing about teasers this week is, it seems like there's no middle ground this week, though. Like sometimes you look for that 7 to bring down or you look, things like that. It's either like really small or then there's like a handful of games where it's double digits plus. Like there's a really wide margin of spreads this week. Like a lot of 2s, 1s, 2s, 3s, big gap, 12.5, 13.5, or like just monstrous spreads that we're going to be dealing with in some of these games.
That's like a college football Saturday, right? A little bit of everything.
Right. There is a little bit of everything here. Let's take a look at a few of these. The Bills are in New England against the Patriots. The Pats can win the AFC East with a win over the Bills here in Week 15. They are coming off a bye. Bills -1. Road favorite here. Pats beat them in Orchard Park back earlier in the season in that Monday night game. 49.5 is the total in this one, Doug.
This is a straight gut play. I lean Bills here. I think it's really tough to beat, these kind of games. The revenge component is really strong for, in terms of impacting the outcome of the game. Patriots, they're young, right? Like, are they going to play tight in this game? They're very well coached, have solid players. This isn't a total like little engine that could team. I mean, they're the 1 seed for a reason. But are they going to play tight knowing the stakes that you just mentioned in terms of they win, they clinch the division? I think the Bills are more experienced in these types of games. Specifically, Josh Allen is more experienced in these types of games. So I'll just even though I've written off the Bills as they're not going to win. They're done because of the landscape of football is just much more competitive. All these teams like the Patriots are now legit contenders. I think Buffalo gets this game. Now I'm not betting it, but my gut tells me Buffalo gets this one.
Obviously, there's some emotional attachment here. For me in this game, I will say, for whatever reason, over the last few years, in December, as much as I like to kick McDermott around, in December, the Bills play really well. I don't trust their defense. I think that this is going to be one of these, again, like kind of last week against Cincinnati. You're going to need another kind of, Herculean effort from Josh Allen to get across the line. And he's up to the task. I know that. I know that he's up for it. There's the revenge factor. I think the Bills are going to win, but I don't trust their defense, Doug. That's my problem as I get a little closer to the game. But I do
Let
think
me
they're
ask
going to
you
win.
this.
Yes.
Other than quarterback, do the Bills have any advantage at any position group, coaching group, anything head to head in this between these two teams?
I mean, position groups, look, you can get probably into some of these things. Really nothing on defense, I would have to say. There's probably nothing on defense that the Bills are, in terms of a group wise, are better. I mean, look, I think that Cook's the best running back in the game. I guess if you compared the entire groups where they have Henderson and Stevenson and whatnot, it's probably better. But the Patriots probably have a better I know they have a better wide receiver group. You're probably right. It's the quarterback is that's the advantage. And is it that big of one in this game with how well May has played this year? Maybe not. Maybe this is just the Pats' year, Doug. But this is one of these games that for the new people that still doubt New England, it's one of those watermarks where it's like, all right, but or they beat the Bills for the second time and people go, oh wow, they're for real, and they'll shoot to the favorite in the AFC if they beat them for a second time. It's a big game for the Pats in that aspect, but Vrabel always does a good job in these spots. Let's go next to Kansas City, where as much as I would like to, Doug, I don't think that I can completely put the final nail in the Chiefs yet. I know they're 6-7 and we're getting close to doing it, but I have to actually see it before I can believe it. They're 5.5-point favorites against the Chargers. Totals of 41 here. Bet Rivers on Sunday. I hope the Chargers do it, Doug, but I just got a feeling the Chiefs aren't going to go quietly.
Well, they've taken some sharp money. Okay. So this number has been bet pretty noticeably at the window by sharp, respected accounts. But they bet the Chiefs every week, just like they bet the Irish every Saturday throughout the season. That doesn't mean to me, when the market moves for a specific team here and there, like, oh, they're like there was money coming this weekend on the Vikings. Okay. That I put a lot more stock in than this team just bets the Chiefs every week. I get it, line value, all that, but clearly this Chiefs team's not right. And Mahomes' deep ball is not the same. Chargers, look, it's a classic fade the team off the big Monday night game, short week, flat spot. Herbert's injured. Heck, who knows if Jim Harbaugh's distracted with everything going on with his former OC, Sharon Moore. I don't know. But I'm not laying 5.5 with the Chiefs, I'll tell you that. But I'm maybe not taking the Chargers plus the points.
We get some points in this game, or is this going to be another one of these low scoring, 41? That's kind of where the Chiefs have been the last
That's
few weeks.
low.
It's
I mean,
pretty
that's really
low,
low.
pretty low number. I know it's going to be cold there, like everywhere else on Sunday. It's going to be cold in Kansas City, but 41 for Mahomes Herbert does seem a little light, maybe an over, Doug, for the Chiefs and the Chargers coming up on
It does
Sunday.
feel a little low.
Feels light. Packers are in Denver against the Broncos. This one does not feel low to me. I told you earlier in the week, I love this under 42.5. I think it's going to be both defenses are very good outdoors in the cold. I think that this is kind of like Chiefs Texans last Sunday night or the Eagle Charger game. This has a 2017, 2014, right in that area type of game for me here on Sunday.
I'm surprised the Packers are 2.5. I thought it'd be 1.5. I mean, can you believe 2 double-digit win streaks or home underdogs with the Broncos and Patriots? I hate the Packers. in this regard, but they probably get this done. I think the Packers probably get it done. The number stinks. That's probably why it happens.
I think if I had to choose a side, it would probably be the Packers, but it's under for me. That's one of my favorite things. I really love the under in this game. It's one of my favorite plays for Sunday going forward.
Really?
Yeah,
42 and a half?
Yeah, the
Ye
under 42. It's stuck out to me all week, Doug. It's just been sitting there staring at me, and it just feels like that kind of game for me, and I've liked it a lot. We know the deal with the Colts and the Seahawks. This is now a flat 14 for Seattle and a total of 42. Riley Leonard practiced today, full practice. Phillip Rivers, we discussed the other day, off the street at 44 years old. I'm sure we're not going to know. Well, we'll know Saturday night, right, Doug, if he's active, because being on the practice squad, they have to add him Saturday night to if he's going to play, right? Or is it different if they make him the third quarterback or something like that? What are the
Look,
rules?
he didn't come here to hold a clipboard, okay?
I agree. If
I
he's
think
here,
this is
he's
a weird
playing.
game for him to play, but I think they just wanted to get him in the building and see what they have. Maybe when you have 10 kids, you just got to get the hell out of the house. So maybe he's willing to reset the
Could
Hall
be
of
it
Fame
too.
thing and get hit by a big defense. Anything sounds better than sitting around the house, I guess. I mean, and I like the under quite a bit if he plays, because I think it's going to be a lot of check down Charlie. You're not going to get crazy pick sixes, field position. He'll be able to get some field goals. The Seahawks might, and maybe the Colts defense plays a little better. I think it's going to be a weird game. 42 feels a little high.
42 does feel a little high. I don't know what I mean. I think it's under no matter which one of them plays, because you're right. I think you get the check down Charlie if it's Rivers, and if Riley Leonard plays, do they score? That would be my. Will it be kind of like is it like a 31-3 Seahawk if Riley Leonard plays? Like, I still feel it's under, even if he gives them short fields and things like that. I don't know if they
Yeah, I
score.
think he'll protect the ball a little bit, right?
Riley.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
nobody can be like we saw with the Vikings guy, like throwing those backhanded
Oh,
interceptions.
that Brosmer. He was
That was very
awful.
Nathan Peterman esque.
Peterman. Yeah. 14
Actually, it
for
was
the
more like Danucci. It was more Danucci esque.
DiNucci stinks too. DiNucci saw so many bad quarterbacks, Doug, we've had to deal with. Vikings and Cowboys on Sunday night. Cowboys -6, 48 flat is the total. I'll just tell you, I don't believe in I think what you saw from the Vikings last week is a little bit of an aberration. They had a Washington team that came into their building and I think is completely finished. I don't think that J.J. McCarthy is going to be able to keep up with Dak Prescott on Sunday night. And I think the Cowboys can get 7 to 10 point win here or more against the Vikings.
I agree with you. Last week was a total scheduling win. It was one team off an emotional overtime Sunday night game. That's season's already done, right? I don't want to be laying points with the Cowboys. They've gone over in the first half
Yeah.
in every game but one. Hard not to like the over here. I think the Vikings can keep it Cincinnati the number. Like I said, sharp money came in on the Vikes. Don't love that. Sharp can be sharp as a
Yeah.
spoon sometimes. I don't know, man. It's to your point, the Vikings looked a lot better than that. This is more of for me, I lean Vikings. Now the sharp money came at 6.5, not like 7.5, but still worth mentioning. It's a bet against Dallas for me if I played the Vikings. It's not necessarily overreacting to what I saw with Minnesota last week. Obviously, that was a scheduling domination.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's believe me, I don't feel great about laying 6 with the Cowboys. At home, they've been a lot better than they've been on the road. And I think their offense is going to be able to. The Minnesota offense, in my opinion, with McCarthy, is the weakest unit in the game. They're going to have a hard time, I think, keeping up. Player props quickly. I love touchdowns. We did get a couple last Friday in the Sunday games. I'm only going to 2. Mark Andrews in the Raven Bengal game because I'm picking on the Bengals, who are awful against tight ends. And then I'm going to go with Hunter Henry in the Pat Bill game because the Bills also are awful against tight ends. And I'm going to pick on them as well. So I'm going after a couple teams that seem to give up touchdowns and yards to tight ends every single week. So Hunter Henry and Mark Andrews for me.
Let's discuss that Bengals thing.
Yes.
You nailed it, and you reminded me. I'm on some receiving. I think you have to go the receiving yards for all the tight ends for Baltimore. Likely,
Likely and Andrews.
Andrews.
Both.
Yeah, I think you just so. And please fill in the gaps here. What the Bengals are allowing to opposing tight ends is like off the charts, historically bad.
Yes.
And it's not like this isn't week 5 where it's like, oh, well, maybe they just faced, Kittle and, no, this is deep into the season. They are absolutely horrendous against tight ends. And I think we just have to bet their player props. And, if you lose, you lose. But I think you just have to like both hands, double fisting at the counter, betting the tight end receiving yards props over.
It's what you really have to do. I mean, some of these games have been just enormous. I've tried to look at a few of them. I mean, they got a 115 to Henry, a 95 to Likely last time they played. That last game, Likely had 95 and Andrews had 47 in that Thursday night Thanksgiving game that they lost to the Bengals. Kincaid had 41. Knox had 93 last week. I mean, Loveland had a $118 against them. Fryermuth had 111. Like, Doug, I keep going. Like, are we getting the point here? The tight ends against the Bengals this year, they eat. And you got two guys, and both of their numbers are low enough that I think you could play both, Doug. And maybe you split it, but I think you can get both. Both are very live to get in the game. In a game that could get a little crazy. The Bengal-Raven games tend to do that. You saw a lot of field goals in that game last time in Baltimore. That total was just around the same thing, right, Doug? It was in the low 50s.
Right.
Didn't get there because it was the Bengals kicked field goals all night. The Ravens had those 2 touchdowns called back, had the ball go through the end zone. You had a lot of weird things happen in that game last time. You might get paid back this week. That could be the zany game.
On the touchdown taken off the board for Baltimore. I mean, that was a touchdown. Why do you need to make a football move in the end zone?
It doesn't make any sense. Makes 0 sense whatsoever. But that's the NFL for us. It makes 0 sense indeed. Yes. I don't think there's anything else. I mean, you want to lay the lumber with the Jags now with Brady, with this Cook playing for the Jets?
I mean, look, he played last week. He's not going to be shell shocked. Maybe this Jags team's like pretty good. I mean, if you asked me to guess their record, I'd be off by like 3 wins. I can't believe they're 9-4. I would have thought, the typical garbage that they churn out, but I guess they've gotten the stench of Urban Meyer out of that locker room.
Yeah.
And they've turned things around. Liam Combs doing a wonderful job. Frankly, he'd be up for Coach of the Year if some of these other coaches weren't just outperforming the market completely. Jets, they're not good. They're still without an interception, right? Like they haven't picked. This is going to be the true measure of this jinx or whatever, because Trevor Lawrence has been known to throw some very interceptable footballs, and this is going to be the real test. Can the Jets actually get an interception here? Because they don't. That's not what they do. They don't get turnovers. And the Jags, this is interesting. So yeah, I'd probably lay it before I took it. Trevor Lawrence interception prop is plus 107. And the Jets haven't had a pick all season. So that's kind of fun.
If it's not this week, it's never happening, is what
you're Under saying. Is minus 139 at Bet Rivers. I think that is a bettable wager. Under 139.
I am with you on the Browns.
Darrelle Revis isn't walking through that door.
No, he is not. Browns plus 7.5. I'm with you on that. I know I heard you mention that earlier. Every Bear game is like a 1-score game. So we got plus 7.5 for the Browns. And what's it going to be, about 5 degrees in Chicago for that game on Sunday as well. And I saw Lions, right? Lions plus the 6 right now. That gone to 6?
Yeah.
Lions plus 6.
I mean, my people tell me sharp money came in on the Rams at 5 and 5.5. Wow. But I think the dog is the right side. Lions on that turf might even have home field, might even have the crowd, even though it's a ways away. Just the Rams crowd's not there. Stafford against his old team. I mean, 6 is a lot. There's a lot of speed. Everyone's like, this Rams team's been good, right? Like really, really good. Okay. I'm not dismissing them. They could win it all for sure. But, remember the Colts came in there. They should have won that game if A.D. Mitchell didn't drop the ball at the goal line. Um, that Niners game, they laid the egg, even though the Niners had like 11 guys out. But who have they beaten? The Seahawks win was interesting. Like that was back and forth, right? That was a tight game. But it's like they beat the Bucks on Sunday night, and the Bucks just aren't that great, and they were completely beat up. Then it was the Saints and the Jaguars, and it's just been like, okay. Now that's the NFL for you. I'll say this. This is what I think is going to happen. If I could able to guess right. Remember like week 3 or so, the Ravens hosted the Lions and Ravens were laying like 5.5 or whatever. And the Lions went in there and it was a tight game back and forth. They just ran the ball the whole game. And then the second half, they just bulldozed them and ran away with the game, literally running the ball. That was the game script Carolina used against the Rams a couple weeks ago. They ran like no other. The play count disparity in the third quarter, the Rams went 3 and out, and the Panthers had like 20-something plays in the third quarter. That's all the Rams had. And that D-line was just gassed by the fourth quarter, and Carolina ran all over them. I think the Lions are going to implement the same game plan they did against Baltimore, that road Monday night game. I think they're going to come in and stick to the run all game. And I think they're going to steamroll them by the second. I think the Lions +6 could be a very good bet if meathead Dan Campbell is smart enough to implement that line or that game plan, and the things go the way, obviously you want to Gibbs to get break free, but I think Goff could have a good game here. Gets his old team and stuff like that. I think +6. I think 6 is too many for the Rams to lay.
It is a lot in that game, and 55.5.
That's a lot too.
That's a big total. And the last thing I'll say about Sunday's games, I still love the Niners -12.5 against Tennessee. I think that's a great spot for them coming off a bye. Titans winning a game. I'm going to go with the Niners on my card this Sunday. NFL Week 15 for us here on Betting Weekly Live. All right, before we get out of here, there is hockey tonight, Doug. I will tell you. Everything went great for me last night in hockey except the game that we had for the Daily Double. 5 goals going into the third period. 5 goals going into the third period, and they couldn't even get us a push. And Vancouver had a power play in the middle of the third. They had it was just awful. But at least some of the Bruins came through for us. We had some
bad beat. Scoreless third periods should never happen.
Scoreless third period, and you had the empty net. You had all sorts of things that should have happened to at least get us to push. All total over 69.5 in Cincinnati, Baltimore for Steve there in the chat box. 69.5 all total. Only 2 games tonight. Blackhawks are in St. Louis against the Blues, who got smashed by the Predators last night in Nashville, and the Kraken are in Utah against the Mammoth. I do not like anything in the NHL tonight, Doug. I will tell you. Both of these games do nothing for me. You want to tell me, maybe the Blues actually are 3-1 on the second night of a back-to-back this year, and they stink. But the Blues are 3-1 on the second night of a back-to-back. So, want to use that? I guess maybe, but it's not.
A nice little night off on the ice.
Night off on the ice. The Blackhawks are playing tomorrow, by the way. They've played, that's their third back-to-back. The first 2 times, they were 0-2, and they were outscored 16-4 in the second night of a back-to-back. Giving up 16 goals. This isn't football. That's 2 hockey games. They gave up 9 one night and 7 the other night. Second night of a back-to-back. They're playing Detroit tomorrow night. So maybe if you want to keep the Blackhawks in mind tomorrow against the Red Wings. They've been pretty awful in those seconds.
I'm looking at Kraken back-to-back the next time. That's on my calendar somewhere.
It's getting there.
It's not a week away or so.
It's got it marked off. All right, it is best bet time here in the Daily Double on Betting Weekly Live. I'm doing it, Doug. I'm going for it. I'm taking the Hornets tonight against this awful Bull team. I mean, 3.5 now. Let's go. Hornets 3.5. Hopefully an outright win. Let's get it, Doug. I'm in on the Hornets.
All right. So we've had an injury update.
Uh-oh.
Anthony Edwards is officially out tonight. So the Warriors are -4. It was 4.5. It's very tempting, but I'm going to stick with Klay Thompson.
Okay.
Over 9.5 points off the bench. It's a banger. I really like it.
Okay.
Now, look, you, as soon as the game starts, you should almost bet this mid first quarter because he hasn't gotten the game in every minute that elapses. But you're banking on a guy off the bench to score double digits. So be it. But I think it's a really sharp play. Nets defense, I'm not too worried about them.
So, daily double tonight. Hornets plus 3.5 at home against the Bulls. Klay Thompson over 9.5 points plus 246 at Bet Rivers. Let's go on a Friday night. Take us into the weekend strong. Doug's been hot. I got to pick it up here tonight with the Hornets. Let's go. Getting back on board, Doug. I'm excited. I'm fired up for the Hornet game. I might be the most interested watcher of Hornets Bulls tonight now in the entire country. It's going to be me watching that game. I'm excited. Might be the first time I use my
Should
NBA
be a good
package.
weekend. I'm still holding out for Diego Pavia. Probably not going to happen, but
that's tomorrow night too, right, Doug? Is that tomorrow night? Pavia?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So get your Pavia tickets ready. He's winning tomorrow night. So we have that as well. And if you want to see all of our stuff for Army, Navy, and the LA Bowl, yesterday's show, I will tweet it out tomorrow morning and what time it is to go to get all of the college football breakdown from us from yesterday. Doug, have a great weekend. Let's have a good one. We will come back Monday here, Betting Weekly Live. Fish and the Steelers on Monday night to finish off Week 15 in very cold Pittsburgh. And we'll have some NBA, we'll have some college hoops and everything else here on Betting Weekly Live. That is at 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific on Monday. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. Good luck at the window. Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian, Betting Weekly Live. We'll see you back here on Monday.